Hello, entrepreneurs. Joe DiChiara coming to you live from downtown Flushing, New York, with another amazing episode of Joe DiChiara Presents How to Win at Business. And good Saturday evening to you. Today, I'm pretty revved up. I'm pretty happy. Not that you care about that, but we had another amazing mastermind today with my friend and coach Larry Broughton and Dave Braun. And what they brought to the table was something that I believe we all need for a number of reasons. And it has nothing to do with my topic tonight, which is, I want to start going through the reasons why you can start, or how you can start cutting your taxes for 2020 now. It's not the end of the year, but this is when we cut our taxes. Not in February, not in March, not in April when you go to your H&R Block, or if you're doing your tax returns on TurboTax. That's not when we save money. But today was, I guess, I don't know if you would call it a tipping point, a turning point in my journey, when I finally realized what I had been telling people for a long, long time, which is you can't do it all on your own. And if you see this mug, that's Rock Your Life. That's my friend Craig Duswald. And Craig, this is the last time that I'm pitching your brand because of what you taught me. Either you're going to pay me for this spot, or I'm going to bring in another sponsor, or I should have my own brand. So rock your life, Craig. I love you. But that's it. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Anyway, so once I came to that conclusion, and it was an evolution. And if you go to bedrockuniversity.com, there is a course there given by my friend Mike Wolf. I call it a course. It was an interview, but it was so educational, and there was so much information there that I cut it up like I did with about 8 other interviews that I did, and highlighted the teaching points. And one of Mike Wolf's things was the 3 stages of being an entrepreneur. And I don't, I would have to, let's see if I can go through them. The first one is like the control freak stage. The second one, I think, is the management stage. Like, once you get like to where, and I wasn't a control freak, that, but it was a chaotic, like, what do I have to do to get to like the second level that Mike talks about? So you, as an entrepreneur, we start our businesses and we hit the ceiling. I call it the brick wall. When you finally, if you've had the tenacity to continue, and you're going, and you see the potential, and you're getting customers, and all of a sudden, like my friend Michelle Cavanaugh said today, it's like, oh my God, my marketing is working. What do I do? I'm too busy. I don't have enough time to do all the things. And that's what Mike was saying. Once you break through that, it becomes the next phase. And that phase, and I'm sorry, Mike, you put labels on them, but I'm just thinking in my head of the circumstances that always happens. And this is the thing that I try to bring to the table. There is nothing new in business. and I think Larry Bratton said that today in the mastermind meeting, there's really nothing new. They might just seem like different, but the sequences are the same. So like when Mike Wolf talks about these 3 stages, I understood exactly what he was talking about. So how do you break through that? Okay, I can't do everything myself. So Larry Bratton and Dave Braun put this HireMyVA.com together, and it's 2.0. They pointed that out. This isn't the first run. They've done this before. And so I had the opportunity to sign up as a beta tester, and it was nothing like I thought it would be, which I mentioned to Larry because I am a beta tester and they want the feedback. There's a lot of companies out there that you could hire VAs from. There's agencies and there's independent VAs. And this whole world, 20 years ago, there were no VAs. There was virtual nothing. Virtual didn't exist. Okay, so this whole industry now is evolving to the point where now people will not be able to scale their businesses unless they have the right team members. And that's another thing that Larry and Dave pointed out today, that they're not VAs. You bring them in as team members. And that was the story today. That's why I'm all hyped up, because now I feel like I have another piece to the puzzle. And that's what it is to me, a puzzle. The whole entrepreneurial business journey. It's just a whole set of circumstances. And after a while, you start seeing the patterns. And that's what we have here, folks. So when Larry and Dave asked me to be a beta tester, what I thought was they were going to show me how to hire one of their VAs. Or I was getting into a pool of VAs that were going to be available to me that have already been vetted. No. What they did was they tricked me. They tricked me into actually having to learn how to hire a VA. And it's a course. And not only is it's a course and a community. So it's pretty interesting. And they will give you the direction to the places where you can hire a VA, and they're not involved with whatever in other words, they're not providing a VA service. And I don't know if anybody else is out there doing this. I know that there's plenty of people that have the VA services, and they'll do their own course on how to hire a VA, which is always about how to hire our VA. So it's unique, this approach, I think, because it seems to me like a brand new type of platform where it's educational. And that's what I believe we all need. And, Larry pointed out about the personality assessments like StrengthsFinders. And it turned out that my first thing is connectedness, and my second thing is I'm a learner. So thank you, Larry and Dave. You completely threw off my whole presentation for tonight, but not really, because I'm not done. What I want to talk about is something that is really actually pretty close to my heart, very close to my heart. even though it may seem like, how could that possibly be? And it's about tax planning. And this is something that has been driving me for decades without me being able to identify it until recently. And, you know, it turns out that I really hate it when, thank you, Larry, for, you know, I hate it when, and I love it when, this is a whole nother thing that I've picked up. But I really hate it when I get clients that have been rung through the mill. And what I'm talking about are basically sole proprietors that either have done their returns. Well, if they did their returns on their own, shame on them. But clients that have been rung, I'm not even saying it right, but they got bad advice. Nobody told them not to be a sole proprietor, which turns out to be like, this is my mission. Almost the vast majority of people doing business as sole proprietors should not be sole proprietors. And that's another part of my story that I'm definitely sticking with, because after 37 years, you know, the patterns have not changed. It's the same people getting in trouble for the same exact reasons. And there's a solution. That's the thing. So before I was focusing on the problem, you know, the problem is that all of these unsuspecting entrepreneurs don't really know what's going to happen. The problem is that we have 25 million sole proprietors that have a potential problem, that it's only a matter of time before they find out. So instead of focusing on the problem, and this is part of The Science of Getting Rich. If you've never read it, I highly recommend it. Wallace Wattles, The Science of Getting Rich, said, you know, if you focus on disease, you're just going to create more disease. So that being said, what's the solution? The solution is education to help people understand the real dangers of doing business as a sole proprietor. And a lot of that has to do with tax planning, which is part of the series that I'm doing now. I'm going to be doing this the rest of the year. So you're going to see me on here a lot saying, you know, the top 10 ways that you can cut your taxes for this year, not next year, not last year, this year, starting right now. Starting now, not starting in January or February when you think you got to start getting ready for your taxes. That's the wrong approach, especially if you're in business. So let me give you a couple of quick tips, a couple of quick ideas, no screenshots, no PDF views. I want to put this in your head. The starting point for planning is looking back. You don't plan by looking ahead right away. You start by looking back. And then where you are now, and then what is it going to take to get to where you want to be? So when I say we start by looking back, where you could start is by pulling out your last 2 years worth of tax returns and start looking at it. Start looking at the numbers, put them side by side, because that's what I do. And if you have a job, you'll see wages. If you have a business, you'll see the numbers. And, I'm assuming you've done 2019 taxes, so this is a perfect time. So if you have your 2019 tax return and you compare it to your 2018 return, just look at what the variances are. And the first thing you want to look for, and this is how I find mistakes, is was there something on my 2018 return that's not on my 2019 return? Because if that's the case, whoever did your return should have asked, well, you had it last year, why don't you have it this year? And there might be an explanation. But as long as you ask the question before you do your return, you are less likely to have mistakes, and mistakes lead to IRS correspondence. The IRS correspondence raises a red flag, and your audit chances go up. So you don't want mistakes. So what you can do right now, folks, take out your last 2 years worth of returns and you can start preparing. Because you need to know what happened before. And then now you'll have information. And in the next segment, I'm going to show you what to do with that information. But if you don't have that history, if you don't have the knowledge of what's gone on in the past, how can you predict the future? Think about it. If you don't have the information from the past combined with the information about where you are now, how can you figure out where you're going to be? And that's what tax planning is, folks. So it starts with your last 2 years of returns. If you're an individual, if you're a business, you get those business tax returns. Hopefully you're an S Corp, so you get the 1120Ss, you put them side by side, and you just look for differences. And then you want to be able to explain the differences. So for instance, let's say your sales went down by 100,000. Well, why is that? And how does it affect my bottom line? And my bottom line affects my taxes. So that's my story. I'm sticking with it, folks. God bless. I will see you tomorrow with an interview tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be interviewing somebody, and that's a special guest, so you'll have to tune in tomorrow. Joe DiChiara, Bedrock Business Builders and BedrockUniversity.com. Thank you. Over and out.